Greetings and welcome to the Law Abiding Citizen podcast, brought to you and sponsored by Monangati and Associates, the hallmark of legal service excellency in Zimbabwe. My name is Tulani, the law orator and your friendly neighborhood lawyer. Today on the LAC podcast, we are talking about the law on music and copyrights in the digital age. Fittingly for such an episode, we are joined today by Mr. Byron Kabaira, who is the founder and director of Movers Talent Management. Mr. Kabaira, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tulani, for having me here.
Wonderful. As I invited Mr. Kabaira to the show, I noticed that you have an extensive CV or a resume that you have from the artists you work with, and also just as Movers Talent Management as an initiative that is actually taking music so far in Zimbabwe. So please, who is Byron Kabaira? What is Movers Talent Management? What gets you running?
Oh, thank you, Tulani. Yeah, Byron Kabaira is a young visionary Zimbabwean, and for the sake of relevance here, I would like to introduce myself as a talent manager. Okay. Basically an individual who comes into the space of talent, initially having done so with music artists, for the sake of bringing, a very vital component, which is the professional side of the talent.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Wonderful. That's amazing, because these issues of music, these issues of copyrights, they all fall within the realm of intellectual property. Intellectual property, which has driven the growth of so many economies across the nation, not only from ideas that are scientific, but also rather from the ideas that come from the mind. These works of arts like music, writing, drawing, and anything as you can conceive it. So, Mr. Kabaira, we now know who Byron is. What is Movers Talent Management? What is the mission statement? And where exactly do you want to get?
Okay, as Movers Talent Management, our mission is to guide and offer support to talented individuals so that they actually manage to realize the fullest of their potential. Whereas our vision would be actually to create some globally recognized and bankable brands out of Zimbabwe.
All right, wonderful. I like the idea that you said about bankable brands, because today as Monangati and Associates, the reason why we want to talk about copyrights in the digital age is because we have noticed that most artists, whether they're in music or any other field, do not really understand how to make use of the law and also make use of those copyrights so that they may derive benefits. What would be your take on that, Mr. Kabaira?
Yeah,
bankable brands.
Yeah, sure. You see, one of my passions stepping into the space of talent management was actually the realization that, we have had so many big names on a global scale. If you do your research from the Bundu Boys, from what people like Oliver Mtukudzi actually got to achieve on a global scale, you see that it's not like we are short of this talent.
Yes.
But there is a certain component that we have just been missing, which is actually creating legacies and also creating brands which are able to take care of these artists, these creative individuals, and also their families after they pass. And you see that, I also like to say that our music industry is not ready to move forward if you don't have space for the young lawyer in town.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful.
Yeah.
You touched on so many important issues there, Mr. Kabaira, but one I would like us to open with is this issue of a financial benefit or some financial money that will come not only to the artist but then to the artist's family and also just generally improve their standards of life. So are we saying if there is no compliance or if there is no knowledge of these issues, are artists then able to make money?
If you want to look at life from a very realistic perspective, after you die, Tulani, who can you actually really trust to go and give that chest of $100,000 to your family?
Yes,
you see, we can't rely on just trust and so forth. So, we need the law to come in and take care of that. That's the only way that you can be sure that after you pass, at least your family or any other beneficiaries who may be under you are going to actually benefit from whatever you worked for when you were alive.
Yes, wonderful. And that also falls within the realm of intellectual property, as I said before, because copyrights are divided into two. There are economic rights, which of course have to do with the money that you receive. And then there's something as well important, Mr. Kabaira, that you've already highlighted, the issue of moral rights. Moral rights now, being divorced from the issues of money, is just acknowledging that someone has done this work of art. And I think it goes hand in hand, because once there is that recognition that someone has done this work of art and is protected, then of course they can then derive the economic rights. So Mr. Kabaira, in your business, how exactly are artists making money? Is it only a matter of them uploading videos on YouTube, or it's a matter of them getting brand ambassador sponsorship contracts? What exactly is happening right now in terms of the economic rights?
Yeah, you see, because we are still hard at work, I think this conversation has been taking center stage. I even see there was a workshop recently which was conducted by Zimura and other professional bodies in the music space at the Zimbabwe College of Music, trying to keep on going deeper and deeper into seeing that how do we safeguard these creations that are made by different creators across different brands. And you see that we still need a structure that is able to stipulate how much who gets for whatever they did. And we have a lot of guidance that we still need from the legal fraternity, from the experts.
Wonderful. And one such example that has just come to mind now is the issue of Nollywood, it's the issue of Bollywood. Everyone knows these works of art that have been created respectively from Nigeria and India. So without then that strict legal compliance or a framework that protects these works of art, the people who produce them, the artists in this discussion, will not then receive any benefit. What's your take on that? Can the government, through the law, can Parliament, through the law, actually aid in protecting these copyrights?
The government definitely needs to play a role, because I feel like one of the biggest crimes in this world is to steal somebody's creation, because that is a direct gift from God, if I may say.
Yes, but nonetheless, I understand that it's happening because we have actually been approached by some big artists who want to sue in the event that their music has been stolen from them, or issues of ghostwriters. So, is it a common occurrence?
Yeah, I'll tell you that I even get a lot of inquiries where somebody calls me, just recently had somebody call me and say, yo, Byron, what happens in an instance where artist 1 and artist 2, they come together to make a song, and artist 1 contributed this and artist 2 contributed that? Can they both be given credit? You see, at some point, honestly, it is also a matter of, I think, morality, like you said, where you actually choose to agree that, my friend, we are going to give credit to that contribution you made in the chorus. We're going to give credit to that word that at times you actually discover that it might be one word or one phrase that makes a creation a masterpiece.
Yes.
And how are you going to actually exactly quantify that? It's now a matter of two people agreeing, but at the same time, we still need guidance of the fundamentals of law.
Yes, wonderful, Mr. Kabaira. You've touched on an important topic that we just want to discuss shortly after the break.
Okay.
The issue of how exactly who is responsible in the artist camp of managing those rights. Because like I said, if they are working with other artists in collaboration, then of course there has to be some form of a contract, whether it be between the record label and the artist, or maybe just an artist and another artist, so that they ensure in the event that anything goes, they will also get not only their financial derivative, but also they'll get money from that initiative.
Sure.
Wonderful. Viewers and listeners, you are watching the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. I am your host, Tulani Mututa, and I am joined by Byron Kabaira, the Director of Movers Talent Management, and we are talking about the law on music, protecting your copyrights in the digital age. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. Today we are talking about the law and music, and we are back for our final segment. Mr. Kabaira, as we're getting into this show, you explained that as movers talent management, your main agenda is to identify talent, nurture that talent, and ensure that talent grows. So before we ask the question on issues of brand ambassador, sponsorship contracts, can you just please give our viewers and listeners a rundown of your resume in terms of those artists?
Okay. It has been an exciting journey of slightly over 7 years now.
Okay.
Having worked, I love to say I was involved in the brand architecture and talent nurturing of one ability extension.
Okay.
Most people would know the artist is Natio.
Okay.
You know, and we're talking about from the ground up kind of management.
Yes.
Also done some work with corporate brand management for Mr. Purity XQ.
Okay.
Done some consultancy for Hope Masike.
Okay.
You know,
Wonderful. I
internationally I've worked with Gaza from Namibia.
Okay.
Also done, you know, a Zimbabwean campaign for Patoranking and Popcorn.
Okay.
You know, and they're doing their Zimbabwe campaign.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yes, it's
been
wonderful.
a few now.
Because you know what you just basically touched on. Those are the issues we want to understand today on the LAC podcast.
Yeah.
We are talking about issues where an artist has a responsibility to ensure that they enter into agreements with corporates, like you say, agreements with other musicians as well. So, what would you say about that role of legal compliance in ensuring the success of an artist?
See, the most unfortunate part is that when you are an artist, under normal circumstances, that when you're dealing with a corporate, especially if it's a huge corporate, they are aware of the law.
Okay.
So they may choose to take advantage of your ignorance to get away with certain things.
Yes, and we always say that on the LAC podcast, ignorance is not a defense at all in terms of the law.
Definitely, it's your responsibility to go and find out what you need.
Yes, and also I think that artists in some way should be owed a percentage of something that is derived from their marketing skills. Because like I said, there are companies, corporate companies for that matter, that may actually want to partner with artists for the sake of marketing. What would be your view on that? Because to me as a legal practitioner, it's only a matter of a simple provision in a contract. If an artist is going to be marketing a brand for someone, I think they should rightly be entitled to a percentage of some sales or some revenue that comes from their advertisements.
Yeah, perhaps just to show that this is not a small topic, at some point, you know, these partnerships can be described in various ways. And there's one particular one that I find very interesting.
Okay.
It's like when you get into a creative partnership with a brand, where, for example, let's talk about Jordans. Okay, where you're putting your name on a brand, and then for a certain amount of sales that are acquired on that particular product, a certain percentage is assigned to you. But let's look at it with the generic situation where maybe a brand here just calls an artist to maybe market a certain product that they are rolling out, a certain service they are rolling out. We also need to find certain stipulations whereby the artist can also continue to benefit from their work, because we have seen situations whereby some corporates, they keep on flighting an advert way after the artist has, maybe even beyond the contract period that they've agreed with an artist.
And I'm sure if you then do have this legal knowledge, if you then know that in terms of the law, you can actually value that contract, and in terms of the law, you can actually agree on terms that best suit growth of the artist. Before we round up the show, Mr. Kabaira, one other thing we want to discuss is the issue of organization or support systems within the music industry that allow young artists and also the seasoned artists as well to appreciate this issue of their copyrights in the digital age.
Okay. Yeah, we see Zimura. They have been sounding supportive towards the artists. There's been a crisis when it comes to all this remuneration of people's talents and so forth. But we have organizations like Zimura who are supposed to safeguard and take that responsibility to collect royalties on behalf of creatives, and also working in partnership and in cults with other organizations. Okay. And there we also expect you guys in the legal fraternity to actually lead us more. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
That's wonderful. And I'll say this again as a plan for the artists as well. Ignorance of the law is not a defense. It may potentially determine whether you make it or not because of this copyright error in the digital age.
Sure.
Mr. Kabaya, before we round up the show, do you have any parting shot for our viewers and listeners, and also get some expertise as someone who has worked in this industry for the past 7 or 4 years?
Parting remarks.
Yes.
Okay. I think I would just reiterate something that I said before, to say that, at some point we can only be serious about developing a viable industry if we've got space for the young lawyer in town. I like to say the young lawyer in town because looking at something where we have actually not been giving space to law, it means that we need to start by appreciating at least the youngest lawyer in town and listen to the wisdom that he can give us before we can actually now have our biggest artists also engaging with the big law firms.
Yes.
Because the only way that this talent is going to actually benefit these creatives and their families and future generations is if the law is involved.
Wonderful. Well, lucky for the viewers and listeners, they can then see that as Mnangagwa Associates, we offer a dynamic legal service that spans and spans into so many issues that deal with intellectual property, copyrights, and so on. Viewers and listeners, thank you for watching the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. My name is Tulani, the law orator, your friendly neighborhood lawyer, and your proud host. Today on the LAC podcast, we were talking about the law on music, joined by Mr. Byron Kabaira, an executive behind Movers Talent Management that has brought up so many artists as we know them in the Zimbabwean industry. So until next time, viewers and listeners, stay legal wise and stay law abiding.